Hi everybody, it's Nikki here and it is Bookgammon time. So Bookgammon is my TBR game which I play every month to help me pick all my books that I'm going to be reading in the month of, in the next month. So yeah, it is it is based on the backgammon game. So if you do not know the rules to this TBR game, I will link the playlist for you in the description box down below. Please check out January's video for the rules. So there are a couple that have been added on since then, but you'll soon pick it up. It's pretty simple. So I am filming this on the 20th of July. So I do still have some books left over on my July TBR, which I would normally use as priority picks for the month of August if I haven't finished them in July. But there's quite a few. But yeah, there are quite a few, but I do believe that I will get to all of them. So I do think I'm going to finish my TBR this month. So on that case, there's going to be no priority picks for August. Okay, so there is something new added to the game this month. I thought, wouldn't it be fun if we added a bomb book and a star book? Not the coffee, a star book. So what are the bomb book and the star book? Well, the bomb book is a book that I really don't want to read. The book that I've been putting off. The book that intimidates me the most. The one that I really, really don't want to have to read for the month. And the star book is the exact opposite. It's the one that I really, really want to read. The one that I cannot wait to pick up. The one that, you know, I hope gets on my TBR, but then I'm deeply disappointed when it doesn't. So yes, we are going to put these onto the board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a random number generator to find out which spaces these go onto the board. Now there is an added thing to this. These will each go on separate pieces on the board, on separate spaces. But if I land on one, say I land on the bomb book first, then the star book token is taken off the board. If I don't land on them at all, I won't have any of the books. But if I land on one, I cannot have the other. So there's a little bit of extra added danger in here because I know how you all like when Bookgammon is mean to me. So I thought I would add a little bit of extra fun into the game. Now these books are predetermined, so I am going to tell you my bomb book and my star book for the month of August. Okay, so for the bomb book, this is the book that I really don't want to read. But if I land on the bomb space, everybody knows I'm not a fan of contemporary. So here we have a contemporary. I'm just going to use it to fan myself a minute. I'm a little bit flustered. So this is Everyday by David Leviathan. It is a contemporary and it says, every day I am someone else. I am myself. I know I am myself, but I am also someone else. It has always been like this. So basically this is the story of someone who wakes up every day in a different body, but they are of their own mind. And they don't know who that person will be for the day, and we only know this character as A. And one day he wakes up in the body of Justin and meets Justin's girlfriend Rhiannon, and then from that moment the rules by which A has been living no longer seem to apply because A has finally found someone he wants to be with every day. I think I've seen the film of this and I was bored with the film. So I'm gonna read this book if I land on the bomb space. It's contemporary and it's everyday and it's teenagers and it's everyday life, school life. I don't think I'm going to enjoy this. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but you know, it's on my shelves. I bought it. I want to at least give it a try. So yeah, it's my bomb book. I don't want to read it, but if I land on it, then I will. Also as well, by the way, with the bomb book and the star book, if I do not read them in that month, then there's going to be a punishment. I don't normally agree with punishments for not reading books, but the bomb book and the star book are exceptions, and I will let you think about what punishments I will get if I don't read them. On the other hand, my star book for the month of August is something that I've been highly anticipating. I am so excited for this book, so excited, and I really hope, fingers crossed, I land on this book. It is For the Wolf by Hannah Witten. This has me excited. It says, the first daughter is for the throne, the second daughter is for the wolf. That tagline has pulled me right into the story. I want to know why. Why is she for the wolf? So the second daughter, the only second daughter born in centuries, Red has one purpose: to be sacrificed to the wolf in the wood in order to save her kingdom. She's kind of relieved to go because she's plagued by a dangerous power she can't control, and at least she knows that while she's in the wildwood, she can't hurt anyone she loves. But the legends lie, because the wolf is a man, not a monster, and her magic is a calling, not a curse. And if she doesn't learn how to use it, the wildwood and her world will be lost forever. Yeah, it just like, the one who's meant to be sacrificed is the one who's actually going to end up saving the world. I cannot wait for this one. Please, 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 Bookgammon, please land on the star for this month, because I truly, truly want to read this. I'm so excited for it. Can you see the joy in my face when I'm talking about it? I'm so excited for this. It's a floppy as well. It's a floppy paperback, and it's just going to be such a pleasure to read. This is so up my alley. I cannot wait to read this. If it's not picked for the star book, I might just read it anyway. I don't know. I'm so excited for this. I really, really want to read it. So yes, For the Wolf is my star book for the month of August. So those are the bomb book and the star book, the new elements to this game. But let's get into the actual gameplay and see if I get to read either of these books in the month of August. Roll gameplay footage. So before we get started, we look at the categories. Red is thriller, pink is contemporary, orange is classic, green is middle grade, yellow is graphic novels and mangas, purple is non-fiction, and blue is fantasy and sci-fi. So we have our bomb and, well, our star and our bomb books. So let's find out which places we're going to put it on. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So we have 24 spaces. Okay, so I have my random number generator here. So for the bomb book, this is going to be placed on position. Let's try that again. 2. Okay, so it goes on here, onto a fantasy. By the way, if wherever the space, whichever space the bomb book is on, I do not pick the prompt for that space, I just read the bomb book. So for the star book, which one is this going on? Number 13. So 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13. So it's going over here on this non-fiction page. So space. So it goes over here onto this non-fiction space. Hope you can see the board quite clearly. So we have our things and we have our cards. So I'm just going to shuffle them. Okay, so our first roll is 2 and 5. No! Our first place is 1, 2. We're reading the bomb book. Thanks for that. Thanks, Bookgammon. And the second piece goes 5 spaces, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have a middle grade. Oh, we have Treat Yourself. There we go. So that is our first roll. So the star book is now removed. Well, that started off well. Roll 2. It's a double 2, so we do get to move forward. So moving 2, 1, 2, that's a thriller, and 1, 2, that is a non-fiction. So the thriller is a Prettyest cover, and the purple is TBR Mug. Roll number 3. A double 6. She's being kind to me now that she's given me the bomb book. Okay, so we move forward again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another thriller. And this should be another non-fiction then, if that's the case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is again. So this time the thriller is my creepiest cover. And the non-fiction is a name of someone I know. So that means that the non-fiction book has to have somebody's name that I know. So a personal friend of mine. So there you go. Roll number 4. A 5 and a 3. So I think I'm going to move this one 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's an orange, which is classic. And this one 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay. So we've got another non-fiction and another classic. So the classic is written pre-1900 and the non-fiction is a hardback. Okay. Roll number 5. A 1 and a 3. Okay, so I'm going to move this one 1 so I can get some fantasy, and this one 3. 1, 2, 3. So that's a contemporary. So the contemporary is a free pass, which means that I don't have to read a book for that. And the fantasy is a fairy loot book. So those are the things. Okay, roll number 6. 5 and 2. Okay. Let's go this one 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is a graphic novel or manga. And this one 2. 1, 2. So a middle grade. So the middle grade has a rivalry in it. Oh, that's interesting. And the graphic novel is to reread a favourite. I'm going to have to take that prompt out because rereading my graphic novels, that's not something I want to do. Okay, so we're going to do that. Now, roll 7. Could this be the final roll? Ooh, not quite. Okay. I think I'm going to move this one 3 so it gets out. 1, 2 and out, and this one 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have a graphic middle grade. And the middle grade is Picture on the Spine. Now we only need the 1 dice, so we'll put 1 back home. Have we finished? Yes, we have. So it is a 4, so that means we are home. 1, 2, and home. So that is the end of gameplay. Okay, so that was the gameplay. Sorry for the change of angle and change of clothes. It is another day that I'm filming the second part of this video, because when I first started filming the video, after the gameplay, my camera died on me. I went to charge it up, then completely forgot to finish filming, and so it is a few days later. The joy of filming. You won't know it's a few days later, but because of my editing skills, my editing skills. But yes, I just wanted to explain the change of clothes and hair and background. The gameplay. So, yeah. The very first month I use a Bomb Book and Star Book thing, Bookgammon lands me on the Bomb Book. Like, of course, like, because why wouldn't she? She landed me very first roll on the Bomb Book. Because Bookgammon is mean and cruel and she doesn't like me. So I don't get to read For the Wolf by Hannah Witten, which is what I really, really wanted to read, which was my Star Book pick for the month. Because if I land on the Bomb Book before I land on the Star Book is no longer viable. So instead I'm reading Every Day by David Leviathan, because Bookgammon is mean and cruel and doesn't like me, I don't think. And then the next piece of the first roll landed on middle grade, and that was Treat Your Shelf. So I did. And it is a couple of days later, so I was able to go out and treat myself, and I bought Adam 2 by Alistair Chisholm. This is my most highly anticipated book of the second half of 2021. I mentioned this in my mid-year freakout tag, that this was the only book in the second half of the year that I was determined to purchase as soon as it was available and read as soon as it was available too. So I don't normally put the book that I gift myself when Bookgammon allows me to treat my shelf. I don't normally put it straight onto my TBR. I just take it as I can go out and buy a book, but I don't necessarily have to read it. But on this occasion, I am going to, because I want to read this right now. Like, right now. Like, I want to read this, but I really, really, really want to read this. So if I can't read For the Wolf, I'm definitely reading Adam 2. This is about, I think he is a robot. Adam 2 has been locked in the basement of a lost building for over 200 years, until he emerges into a world ruined by a civil war between humans and advanced intelligence. Hunted by both sides, Adam discovers that he holds the key to the war and the power to end it, to destroy one side and save the other. But first, Adam must decide who and what he really is. With incredible twists and turns and an action-packed story, this is a thrilling, unputdownable adventure. So I am so excited. It's sci-fi, middle grade sci-fi, which you don't get many of. And last year's Orion Lost by Alistair Chisholm was my favourite book of 2020. So I have such high hopes for this, and I so want to read it right now. So yeah, I'm going to be reading Adam 2. For roll number 2, we got a thriller, and the prompt for that was Prettiest Cover. So for that one, I am going to attempt a second read of The Taking of Annie Thorne by C.J. Tudor. And I say attempt a second read because I did have this in a previous TBR, and I got so far into it, and then the month kind of finished, and I hadn't finished the book, and I didn't fancy continuing on with it at that time. So I took the bookmark out and I just put it back on my shelves, intending to read it another time. So it is the second time I've started to read this, or put this on my TBR. And this is about Then one night my little sister went missing. There were searches, appeals, everyone thought the worst. And then miraculously she came back. She couldn't or wouldn't say what had happened, but she wasn't the same afterwards. She wasn't my Annie. Sometimes my own little sister scared me to death. Now the email arrives in my inbox. I know what happened to your sister. It's happening again. And it's pretty because it has this beautiful decorated edges with these paper dolls and this paper doll on the front with this little blood speck on there. It's just stunning. The red to black fade. I love it. The thing that threw me off when I first started to read this was I thought it was a female main character telling the story, and I got a couple of pages, I think it was about 1 or 2 chapters, yeah, I got about 10 pages into it, and I suddenly realised it was actually a man telling the story, so it was a big brother to Annie, and that kind of threw me off because I'd imagined it being a woman as the main character, and it wasn't, it was a man, and then that kind of threw me out of the story and I couldn't quite concentrate, and I think that's why I ended up not finishing it, because I just kept seeing a woman in my head. That's my fault, I just assumed it was a female. Yeah, hopefully this time, knowing that it is a man telling the story, it won't throw me out of the story so much, so I can just concentrate on the words rather than the weirdness that I felt. So yeah, The Taking of Annie Thorne by C.J. Tudor. And then the second prompt for that was non-fiction, and the prompt was TBR Mug. So I have my TBR mug here. It is Serpent and Dove inspired mug, which I got from Fairy Loot. It's got all my pieces of paper in. These are not specifically non-fiction books. They're just any books. Some that I want to read, some that I don't. So let's see what we have. I have added a few new books in here recently, so we'll go for this one. So what have we got? Aha! It is one of my newest books. It is Threadneedle. Let me just get that for you. Okay, so here she is, Threadneedle by Carrie Thomas, and it is a hardback Waterstones special edition with the red sprayed edges. It's also signed by the author, and it says on the back, magic and love, love and magic, they destroy everything in the end. So I believe it's about a young woman who, I think it's her mother, has told her, her aunt, sorry, has always warned her of the dangers of magic. It twists, it knots, its deadly consequences. Now Anna counts down the days to the ceremony that will bind her magic forever, until she meets Effie and Attis. They open her eyes to a London she never knew existed, a shop that sells memories, a secret library where the librarian feeds off words, a club where revellers lose themselves in a haze of spells. But as she is swept deeper into this world, Anna begins to wonder if her aunt was right all along. Is her magic a gift or a curse? So that is the book picked by my TBR mug. For roll number 3, we got another thriller. I'm really not in the mood for thrillers, but anyway. And this time it was The Creepiest cover. So as I did not get to this in my July TBR, spoilers, I'm going to be picking up I Know Where She Is by SB Caves. This was in my July TBR, but sadly I did not get to it. But look at that cover. She is walking alone in the woods. That's creepy. It looks foggy. It looks dark. It looks dangerous. Like, don't be walking alone in the woods, women. And it says 10 years ago her daughter was taken. Now she's going to get her back. So yeah, it's about on the 10th anniversary of her daughter Autumn's abduction, Francine receives an anonymous note containing just 5 words. I know where she is. So yeah, it's about a woman trying to find her daughter. So hopefully I'll get to it in August. And for the second piece of roll 3, we had another non-fiction, and this was Name of Someone I Know, which means that either in the title or the author of the book has to have the name of someone I know in my personal life. And if you don't know this about me, but my dad is called David. So I'm going to be reading Black and British by David Olusoga. So it is this one. Now, I believe that there are two different copies of Black and British. There is this version, which is the children's version, and then there is an adult's version, I believe, if I'm right. So this is a short essential history. It said, when did Africans first come to Britain? Who are the well-dressed black children in Georgian paintings? Why did the American Civil War disrupt the Industrial Revolution? These and many other questions are answered in this essential introduction to 1,800 years of black British history, from the Roman Africans who guarded Hadrian's Wall right up to the present day. So yeah, I'm going to be reading this one. The reason why I bought the children's version rather than the adult's version, despite being in my early 40s, is because with non-fiction, I find sometimes adults non-fiction being very dry and sometimes very info dumpy. Like, there's a lot of more in-depth information, and sometimes for me, the simpler the information, the easier I can digest it. So this being a children's book, it's got larger writing, there are pictures, there's maps, and I don't believe that this is as well portrayed in the adults version. I'm almost certain there was an adults version of this. I will have to check that. But yeah, and plus as well, this one says Macmillan's children's books will donate 50p for every copy sold to the Black Curriculum, which is a charity. So yeah, I was helping charity out as well when I purchased this. But yeah, so I'm going to be reading Black and British by David Olusoga. The next role, the first prompt, was a classic, and that was written pre-1900. So for that one, I am going to be reading The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. I believe this was written. This newly reset text is taken from a copy of the 1848 second edition in the library of the Bronte Parsonage Museum and has been edited to correct known errors in that edition. So this is the Wordsworth collection from there, and this has an introduction and notes by Peter Merchant, Canterbury Christchurch University College. So yeah, I'm going to be reading this. Tenant of Wildfell Hall, powerful and sometimes violent novel of expectation, love, oppression, sin, religion and betrayal. It portrays the disintegration of the marriage of Helen Huntingdon, the mysterious tenant of the title, and her dissolute alcoholic husband. Defying convention, Helen leaves her husband to protect their young son from his father's influence and earns her own living as an artist. While in hiding at Wildfell Hall, she encounters Gilbert Markham, who falls in love with her. Apparently this was criticised for being coarse and brutal, so should be interesting. So yeah, going to be reading that. And the second piece for role number 4 was another non-fiction, and this time I had to pick a hardback. So for that, I'm actually going to kind of try and finish a book that I had previously started and DNF'd halfway through, and that is The Murders at White House Farm by Carol Ann Lee. This is the Jeremy Bamber and the Killing of His Family, the definitive investigation. I did get that far through, so we were like to here through it, as you can see, and I was getting so far into it, but I think I was hitting a reading slump when I was reading this, so I decided to put this aside and try and pick up some other books to try and stop the slump from happening, but it came anyway. So yeah, I am determined to finish this. I have since DNFing this and putting it back on my shelves. I have since seen a TV adaptation of the Jeremy Bamber investigation and what happened. So I have that visualization in my head now. So hopefully that will help me to continue with the book, because when I first started reading this, I hadn't seen the TV adaptation of the investigation and the events that happened. But now I have, so hopefully I have that to help me get through the book. So I'm kind of cheating because I'm already halfway through, but you know, I have a lot of non-fiction and a lot of thrillers on this list this month, and I'm going to need some help because these are two genres I don't read very much from normally. So yeah, but this month, August, is the time to finish that book. Okay, on to roll number 5. The first prompt was finally a fantasy because I need more fantasy. And the prompt was a fairy book. Now, I did think about picking one of the books that came in one of the boxes. However, I really want to read this. This will finish off a duology. So this is City of Spells by Alexandra Christo. She is the author of To Kill a Kingdom, but this is the sequel, or in the duology, of Into the Crooked Place. Now, The Crooked Place was about a group of teenagers, I want to say, almost. You had Tavia, Wesley, Saxony and Karam, and they make their money in magic. But when the deadly Loge elixir sweeps the streets of Crage, they realise their kingpin is off the rails. The elixir is mind control, and Ashwood's using it to usurp their political leaders and create a realm of dark magic. So yeah, and this is the sequel to that. So this will finish off a duology for me, so I'm very happy to do that. So that's why I decided to pick up this book. And the second piece for roll number 5 was a contemporary, and that gave me a free pass. Now, I know earlier I said that when I got the Treat Your Shelf, I take that as a free pass. I can buy myself a book, but I don't necessarily have to read it. But this month I am choosing to read it. This time with the contemporary free pass, I am going to take it as a free pass. I think what I might do is see if there's anything I'm in the mood to read and maybe pick up a mood read for that. But there's no book for that prompt. On to roll number 6. The first one we got was a middle grade, and this prompt was has a rivalry in it. Now, I figure that as long as there is a bad guy versus a good guy in the story, then that technically counts as a rivalry. So I'm going to move on to the second book in the Skullduggery Pleasant series, and this one is Playing with Fire by Derek Landy. I did read the first book a few months ago and really enjoyed it because I listened to the audiobook on Scribd. Thoroughly enjoyed the sound effects on that audiobook. So I'm hoping to move on and listen to it. Did I listen to it on Scribd or was it on BorrowBox, my libraries app? Might have been BorrowBox. So I will probably look for the audiobook for this again and hopefully have the fun of the sound effects again, listening to the story. But Skullduggery Pleasant is basically, he's a dead detective. He's a skeleton, but he is alive basically. And in the first book he helps a young girl who's inherited a house, but some bad guys are looking for something inside the house and he has to kind of protect her. So yes, there was a bit of a cliffhanger at the end of the first book, so I'm hoping that this book will go straight into the action and continue that story. So yes, I'm going to be reading that one. And the second piece landed on a graphic novel or manga, and the prompt for that was reread a favourite. Now, normally I think to myself, maybe I should replace that prompt because I don't really want to be filling my TBRs with rereads. However, do you know what? I'm really in the mood for it. I'm going to reread Dracula, the graphic novel. So this is a classical comics, and graphic novel, and they do classical stories, so Dracula, Wuthering Heights, Frankenstein, Jane Eyre, and they do them in graphic novel form. And the artwork in them is just phenomenal. So yeah, it can be quite gruesome. I'm going to be rereading that. And last but not least, on roll number 7, one piece went home, and the second piece landed on, and the second piece landed on middle grade, and that was to read a book with a picture on the spine. So for that, I had this on my 5-star predictions for 2019, I think, and then I didn't get around to reading it, and so the interest for this book has slowly but surely grown less and less. So I feel like now is the time that I need to read it, and that is The Monster Who Wasn't by T.C. Shelley. I feel like this one has Hunchback of Notre Dame vibes, and that's what intrigued me the most about it when I first picked it up. So it says, it's a well-known fact that fairies are born from a baby's first laugh, but very few people know that all monsters come from a person's last sigh. Well, nearly all of them. This is the story of a monster who is strange indeed. He's half laugh, half sigh, and he looks just like a human boy. And there is somebody, the bloodthirsty king of the ogres, wants this boy. We don't know what for, but yeah, so very excited to read this finally, because as I say, it was on my 5-star predictions, but the interest has slowly disappeared as the year has gone over, and so yeah, now I just want to pick it up. So that is that. That is the final part of my Bookgammon TBR. Is there any books here that you are interested in? Let me know. We will also be having a book club pick for the month of August. I believe that the girls agreed on reading Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin, but I've already read Serpent and Dove and Blood and Honey, which is book 1 and 2. However, I am hoping to get Gods and Monsters from Fairy Loot. I have it on pre-order, so hopefully that should be coming very, very soon. So I think I'm going to be reading Gods and Monsters while they read Serpent and Dove. And then my buddy read with Charlotte is going to be the next book in the Ugly series, which is Prettyest by Scott Westerfeld. So if you want to continue reading the Ugly series with me, let me know in the comments section down below, and yeah, we can buddy read it together. So that is my Bookgammon TBR. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!